Hello, everyone. Tonight we are walking out of a side gate that squeaks like it's auditioning for a horror film. Behind you, a palace still sleeping, its walls stuffed with secrets and lukewarm tea. In your hand, nothing. The scroll is gone. Mission complete. You are now irrelevant. You step into the morning like you just snuck out of someone else's dream. A vendor yawns into the breeze. A cat judges you from a rooftop. That's fine. You're not here for applause. You were never here for applause. And honestly, if applause showed up now, you'd suspect sarcasm. You probably won't survive this, statistically speaking. Messengers had a better chance of dying from exhaustion or wild dogs than from old age. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I'm doing here. Drop your location and local time in the comments so we know who's listening in the dark with us. Now, turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's enjoy this evening's journey together. You shoulder your satchel. It's lighter without the scroll, but somehow your bones feel heavier. The gate behind you creaks shut again, not because of magic, just bad carpentry. And then it clicks. Not a magical click, just the soft kind that means you can't go back in. You don't look back. You've seen enough of palaces and paper. The road ahead used to be marked with anticipation, now it's just dirt and the occasional lizard who clearly doesn't respect personal space. Each step kicks up yesterday's dust. And yesterday, you mattered. That was wild. You try not to romanticize the scroll. It wasn't some ancient poem or a prophecy sealed in dragon wax. It was about wheat. Warehouse inventories. There were numbers. At one point the phrase double-counted millet appeared. You delivered it like it was the last Horcrux. But let's be honest, it was just glorified bean counting. The sun rises like it's doing you a favor, and you squint like a raccoon busted in the pantry. You forgot your hat back in the palace. Great. Now you'll look like a roasted turnip by sundown. Your mother warned you about traveling without headwear. She also warned you not to get into government things. Historians still debate whether messengers like you were low-tier bureaucrats or just well-dressed pigeons with anxiety. Some say you were trusted confidants. Others say you were disposable ink mules. You choose to believe both. You did have a nice sash, and your feet hurt like betrayal. You step over a broken sandal strap on the road. Not yours, but ominous. By midday, your stomach's making protest noises loud enough to scare birds. You debate chewing on a twig like some rugged survivalist. But then remember the last time you did that and ended up with a mouthful of ants. Nature is a snitch with teeth. You find a shady rock, which sounds humble, but in this climate it's basically beachfront property. You plop down and latch your satchel and discover joy of joys, a leftover rice cake. It's the texture of regret and tastes like paper's cousin, but it's edible. Probably. Historians still debate whether ancient rice cakes were food or insulation. You chew slowly, like you're being watched by a very judgmental ghost. A few goats appear at a distance, staring at you like you owe them something. You don't. You paid the goat tax to villages ago. They just like drama. Down the road, you spot a farmer fixing a wheel. You wave. He doesn't wave back. That's fair. You probably look like a sunburned cryptid in borrowed sandals. Honestly, you're surprised the birds haven't started circling yet. But here's the weird thing. You're not going back. You're not expected to report in. There's no reception dinner. No celebratory soup. You delivered the scroll. That was the whole job. Now you dissolve back into normal life, whatever that even means. You lie back and listen. Just wind. The road south is less traveled, and by less travel we mean it's basically just where the weeds gave up. You follow it anyway, like a cat chasing a laser pointer. And sure, if it leads to a nap or annihilation, your feet are blistered in new and creative ways. One toe looks like it's trying to stage a rebellion. You consider naming it. Maybe General Ache. The saddle sore on your backside is less a pain and more a permanent personality trait now. You pass an abandoned shrine, its roof sagging like a disappointed parent. Offerings of dried fruit and old coins still sit at its base. You leave a pebble. It's not much, but hey, even gods appreciate gestures, or maybe they're just really into rocks. Historians still debate whether this type of shrine was for travelers or local thunder spirits with gambling problems. Suddenly, something shifts in the underbrush. You freeze. Is it a bandit? A tiger? A bandit riding a tiger? Turns out it's a tortoise. Just ... slowly existing. You breathe again, feeling both relieved and mildly insulted by your own cowardice. Weird fact, tortoises were once considered lucky guides on journeys unless they walked away from you. This one definitely does. Rude. Still, you keep walking. The scroll is long gone, but your feet haven't gotten the memo. Late afternoon brings the buzz of cicadas and a sky that looks like it's trying to hold in tears. You squint at the horizon. Those clouds could be dramatic mood lighting or an incoming monsoon. 50-50, either way. Your fate probably involves getting wet. You find a bridge. Technically, it's mostly wood, partially rope, and entirely a bad idea. But the river below churns like a washing machine possessed by sea spirits. You sigh, test a plank, it creaks like a lyre, and step forward anyway. Halfway across, a breeze picks up. You freeze. The bridge sways, and for a second you reconsider every life choice that led you here, including the rice cake. A frog croaks somewhere like it's mocking you. You want to throw a shoe at it, but shoes are precious now. Also, you need both feet for panicking. Eventually, you make it across. Victory. Not graceful, not heroic, but dry. You mutter something that might be thanks to the frog, or to gravity. It's unclear. Historians still debate whether this bridge design was inspired by fishing nets or just wishful thinking. Either way, it held. Barely. As the first raindrop hits your forehead with theatrical timing, you just laugh. Because of course. Late afternoon brings the buzz of cicadas and a sky that looks like it's trying to hold in tears. You squint at the horizon. Those clouds could be dramatic mood lighting or an incoming monsoon. 50-50, either way. Your fate probably involves getting wet. You find a bridge. Technically, it's mostly wood, partially rope, and entirely a bad idea. But the river below churns like a washing machine possessed by sea spirits. You sigh, test a plank, it creaks like a lyre, and step forward anyway. Halfway across, a breeze picks up. You freeze. The bridge sways, and for a second you reconsider every life choice that led you here, including the rice cake. A frog croaks somewhere like it's mocking you. You want to throw a shoe at it, but shoes are precious now. Also, you need both feet for panicking. Eventually, you make it across. Victory. Not graceful, not heroic, but dry. You mutter something that might be thanks to the frog, or to gravity. It's unclear. Historians still debate whether this bridge design was inspired by fishing nets or just wishful thinking. Either way, it held. Barely. As the first raindrop hits your forehead with theatrical timing, you just laugh. Because of course. The rain doesn't politely drizzle, it slaps. Big drops, cold and judgmental, like the sky is washing away whatever was left of your dignity. Your robe clings to you like a needy ex. Each step is asquish. You find shelter beneath a crooked tea vendor's awning. The shop's been abandoned for years, judging by the moss trying to unionize on the walls. But there's a dry bench, and in this moment, that's better than gold. You sit. Water drips from your nose like punctuation marks on an unspoken complaint. As you peel off one soggy sock, you hear a faint whistle. Someone else. You tense up just in case it's a thief, a ghost, or worse, a traveling poet. Turns out it's a boy with a reed flute, barefoot, and singing to himself like the rain's his audience. He barely notices you, just walks past, tunes trailing behind like a ribbon caught in wind. You watch him disappear around the bend, completely unbothered by the storm. The flute melody lingers, light and crooked, like it's been around longer than the clouds. Historians still debate whether reed flutes in this region were tools of communication, entertainment, or low-key weather summoning devices. Given your current state, you're leaning toward the third option. Either way, you kind of miss the kid once he's gone. Eventually, the rain lightens up enough that walking seems only mildly masochistic. You head back onto the path, each step squelching like you're wearing soup. The sky shifts to bruised purple, and lightning flickers way off in the hills. You count the seconds before the thunder Boom. Great, it's following you now. But for some reason, the weight on your shoulders starts to ease. The scroll's gone. The rain's passing. And for once, you're not worrying about what's ahead, only that your other sock has somehow disappeared. Again, night comes on velvet feet, soft and sneaky. The world turns into silhouette trees, hills, your own doubts. The path narrows, overgrown with shrubs that slap your legs like they're collecting tolls. You find a grove and collapse under a pine tree that smells like old incense and fresh regret. You gnaw on some dried persimmons from your pouch. They taste like sweet sandpaper, but you pretend it's fine dining. The stars begin to poke through the clouds like tiny holes in a story. One of them blinks. Wait, no, that's a firefly. You watch it hover. Another joins, then 10. Soon you're surrounded by little lights, flickering like shy applause. It's dumbfounding, magical, and possibly an elaborate prank by the local bugs. Still, for a minute, you're not a tired courier. You're something else. Historians still debate whether early mountain dwellers saw fireflies as spirits, omens, or just biodegradable lanterns. You don't care right now. You just lie back, let the dirt cradle you, and pretend this is home. A branch cracks nearby. Your heart jolts. You freeze. But it's only a deer, just as startled by you. You nod respectfully, like to travelers passing through a dream neither of you really understands. You wake up stiff, damp, and questioning every decision you've ever made involving pine cones. One somehow embedded in your back like it was personally offended by your spine. Morning light slices through the trees, spotlighting your grimy glory. You stretch. Something cracks. Hopefully not vital. You shuffle downhill toward the next village. Your stomach sounds like it's composing a protest song. And frankly, it has a point. A passing farmer tosses you a half-eaten radish without breaking stride. You accept it like a sacred offering. Desperation really lowers your standards. The village ahead is quiet to quiet. Turns out, they're mid-festival prep. You stroll in like a mud-caked omen, and a child immediately screams. Not ideal, but a kindly old woman gives you a towel and a suspicious rice dumpling. She says, eat it fast, or it'll try to eat you. You eat it very fast. They're celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival. Mooncakes, lanterns, awkward family gatherings, the works. Historians still debate whether the festival originated as a harvest ritual or just a nationwide excuse for pastries. You honestly don't care. You're just happy to sit near a bonfire and pretend you belong. Someone hands you a flute. You politely decline, twice. Later that night, you find yourself seated beside a paper lantern shaped like a rabbit holding a peach. It's cute in a mildly threatening way. The villagers dance in lopsided circles, and someone insists you join. You try to explain that you have 2 left feet and possibly a third, one made entirely of blisters. But they don't care. You dance, badly, enthusiastically, with the grace of a tipsy goose. But laughter bubbles up around you, and for once, it's not at you, it's with you. Somehow, this moment, this ridiculous flailing is sacred. You overhear a story around the fire about a messenger centuries ago who vanished after delivering a scroll during a lunar eclipse. Some say he turned into a fox. Others say he just changed his name and opened a soup shop. Historians still debate whether the legend was based on fact or just a cautionary tale about overwork. Someone passes you a bowl of sweet rice soup. It's warm, weirdly comforting, and suspiciously jelly-like. You eat it anyway. You've made worse choices, like walking into this village looking like a haunted scarecrow. And in that odd little space between firelight and starlight, you realize something. You're not rushing anymore. You're just being. You sleep under a wagon that smells like cabbage and dreams. In the morning, a rooster screams directly into your soul. You bolt upright, smack your head on a wooden beam, and remember, alright, you're still you. The road ahead curls like a question mark. You follow it because, well, what else are you gonna do? You've got no scroll, no destination, and no sense of direction. Basically, you're a motivational poster waiting to happen. Midday, you come across a stone milestone half buried in weeds. The inscription reads, "To the quiet city of 14 Li." You vaguely remember hearing about that place. Supposedly, no one there speaks above a whisper. Some say it's a city of monks. Others say it's just really into passive aggression. Historians still debate whether the city actually existed. or was a metaphor in travelers' journals. You kind of hope it's real. You're tired of yelling goats. You pass a merchant cart with exactly 3 wheels and too many chickens. The driver offers you a ride in exchange for 2 songs or a story. You choose the story. You make one up on the spot about a tired traveler who delivers a scroll and loses their way home. The driver doesn't say anything, but he hands you an apple. Maybe that was enough. You leave the quiet city before dawn, the gates whispering shut behind you like a sigh. The silence lingers in your bones, even your stomach gurgles respectfully. The path cuts through a bamboo forest, and every breeze sounds like gossip. You pass a pair of older travelers playing a silent game of Go using pebbles, and one very smug squirrel as the judge. You nod, they nod. The squirrel ignores you, as squirrels do. You find a shrine half swallowed by moss. Inside, a single candle burns beside a statue of a woman with no face. A small wooden plaque reads, "She sees what cannot be said." You drop a coin in the offering bowl, though it's mostly buttons and dried beans. Historians still debate whether faceless deities represent forgotten gods or communal fears, though you kind of think it's just that people didn't want to carve noses. Later, you meet a man carrying a boat on his back. He says he's walking to the next river, though he doesn't know where it is. You ask why not just wait by one. He shrugs and says, "Rivers are good at finding people." Honestly, you kind of love that. You leave the quiet city before dawn, the gates whispering shut behind you like a sigh. The silence lingers in your bones, even your stomach gurgles respectfully. The path cuts through a bamboo forest, and every breeze sounds like gossip. You pass a pair of older travelers, playing a silent game of Go using pebbles, and one very smug squirrel as the judge. You nod, they nod. The squirrel ignores you, as squirrels do. You find a shrine half swallowed by moss. Inside, a single candle burns beside a statue of a woman with no face. A small wooden plaque reads, "She sees what cannot be said." You drop a coin in the offering bowl, though it's mostly buttons and dried beans. Historians still debate whether faceless deities represent forgotten gods or communal fears. They you kind of think it's just that people didn't want to carve noses. Later, you meet a man carrying a boat on his back. He says he's walking to the next river, though he doesn't know where it is. You ask why not just wait by one. He shrugs and says, "Rivers are good at finding people." The hills begin to rise again, sharp, green, and smug about it. You're less excited. Your legs feel like they've been replaced with mildly offended breadsticks. Still, up you go, one breath, one grumble at a time. At the summit, a lone tower leans dramatically to the left, like it had too much wine at lunch and is trying to act sober. You enter. Inside, shelves are stacked with scrolls so old they probably predate gravity. A woman in blue robes catalogs them by humming tone, not words. She doesn't look up, but she does say, "You're early." You ask what that means. She hums a low B flat and continues sorting. On the top floor, you find a scroll with your own handwriting. It's dated 5 days from now. You don't read it, not out of fear but because you've learned it. Something important. Knowing what comes next ruins the flavor. Outside the tower, a small plaque reads, "Here you are reminded." The scroll is not the story. Historians still debate whether this tower ever truly existed, or if it's just a shared hallucination among over-traveled messengers. If so, someone should really clean it. You don't take the scroll. You leave lighter. Honestly, you kind of love that. You descend from the tower into a valley wrapped in morning mist. The air smells like mint and old secrets. A farmer waves you over and hands you a peach. Wordlessly, like that's just how things are done here. You take a bite. It's the juiciest thing you've had since the incident with the soup. Card in Port 9, we don't talk about that. The path curves through sleepy villages, where children fly paper birds, tied to strings. One dives at you, you duck. The child laughs and says, "The bird thinks you're a cloud." That feels strangely flattering. You spend the night under a tree shaped like a question mark. An old dog curls up beside you uninvited. You both agree not to mention it. In the distance, fireworks crackle not in celebration, but as coded messages. Historians still debate whether such firework signals were military alerts or just extremely fancy party invites. Either way, someone wants attention. You smile. Not your problem anymore. By morning, the dog is gone, but it left a pinnacone in your bag. A gift, a warning. A snack. You don't know. You just keep walking, now with one pinacone heavier and one burden lighter. The final stretch home feels unreal, like walking through a memory someone else dreamed. Your village appears over the ridge, just as crooked and cozy as you left it. Smoke rises from familiar chimneys. A chicken greets you like you owe it money. No one rushes out to meet you. No banners, no applause. You slip back through your own door like dust returning to the floorboard. Your scroll, already delivered days ago. Your path, already retold and half forgotten. You make tea. You patch your cloak. You feed the chicken. It does not thank you. Later, you find a piece of your map still folded in your bag. The edges worn soft from the road. You hang it above your bed, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. The story was never in the scroll. It was in every cracked stone, every misstep, every laugh shared with strangers. Historians still debate whether this return marks an end or merely a pause. You sip your tea and think, maybe silence is the final message. Maybe it always was.